Right now, somewhere outside your window, two birds are having a conversation. Not random noise, not instinctive singing that means nothing. A real exchange of information, specific, structured, and understood by every bird within earshot. You've heard it hundreds of times. You've called it background sound, morning noise, the yard waking up. But there is a language running through that sound that most people never learn to hear. And today, we're going to learn it, piece by piece, layer by layer, until we reach the part that will change the way you listen to your yard forever. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand the one sound that may actually be about you. Here is the first thing to understand. What you hear as ambient noise, that soft, layered texture of chirps and calls that fills a yard on any ordinary morning, is not background. It is foreground. It is a live, constantly updating feed of information being broadcast, received, interpreted, and responded to by every bird in the area simultaneously. Humans hear blur. Birds hear specifics. When a house sparrow chips from the fence, nearby birds know its location, its alertness level, and whether the territory is stable. When a nuthatch calls from the oak tree, it confirms the upper canopy is clear. When that sound stops, other birds notice. When it changes, they respond. Your yard has been speaking all along. You just never learned the language. Chickadees, the emergency dispatchers. Of all the voices in your yard's communication network, the black-capped chickadee carries the most precise alarm system researchers have ever documented in a common backyard bird. When a chickadee detects a predator, it encodes the threat directly into its call, specifically into the number of D notes at the end of its signature sound. 2 or 3 notes for a distant hawk circling far overhead. 7, 8, 9 or more for a small, fast predator perched nearby at eye level, the kind that can actually reach a roosting bird. Other species understand this completely. Tufted titmice, white-breasted nuthatches, downy woodpeckers, birds with no biological relation to the chickadee, adjust their behavior in direct proportion to the chickadee's D count. They've learned to read a system that isn't theirs. A chickadee may be the emergency dispatcher for your entire neighborhood, and it has been broadcasting detailed threat assessments all morning while you drank your coffee. Cardinals, the constant conversation. While the chickadee handles emergencies, the northern cardinal runs something quieter and more personal, a continuous check-in system with its mate. Throughout the day, not just at dawn, not just during territorial display, a mated pair of cardinals will exchange short, sharp chip notes. One calls, the other answers. A few minutes pass. One calls again, the other answers again. It sounds like nothing. It is everything. These contact calls confirm location, confirm safety, and maintain the bond that makes a breeding pair function as a single coordinated unit. They happen so consistently, so quietly, that most people never separate them from general yard noise. There is a detail from field research that stays with people once they hear it. When a cardinal loses its mate, it sometimes continues making contact calls, calling into a silence that used to answer. Researchers who have observed this describe it as one of the more affecting behaviors in common backyard wildlife. Not because it implies human-style grief, but because it reveals how deeply the call and response pattern is embedded in the bird's daily experience of the world. The sound you almost never notice carries more weight than it appears to. Robins, the property dispute you think is music. The robin's song, that clear, rolling melody that fills spring mornings and feels, from the outside, like pure contentment, is not what it seems. It is a territorial declaration, a negotiation, a continuous broadcast that says, "This space is occupied, I know its boundaries, and I will defend them." Song complexity signals fitness. A male robin with an elaborate, varied song communicates that he is experienced, healthy, and capable of holding territory. Neighboring males interpret this. They adjust their own behavior accordingly, sometimes pushing boundaries, sometimes backing off, sometimes engaging in extended vocal contests along territory edges. What sounds peaceful to you may actually be a property dispute that has been ongoing for weeks. Silence, the loudest message. Stay with me, because this section changes everything. There is a moment in any yard when every sound stops simultaneously. Not gradually, not birds drifting off one by one, but all at once, as though someone pressed a switch. The chickadee goes silent. The cardinal stops chipping. The sparrows on the ground freeze. This coordinated silence is itself a communication. It means something is here that changes everything. Usually it's a hawk, sometimes a cat moving low through the undergrowth, sometimes a snake working slowly through the garden. But whatever it is, every bird in the yard has agreed, without a single audible signal, to go completely still. Sometimes the loudest message birds send is silence. If you're outside when it happens, if you notice the yard shift from active to absolutely motionless, stop. Whatever triggered that response is nearby. The birds know before you do, the calls that hide from predators. There is one category of bird call that represents something almost elegant in its design. When a hawk appears overhead, not a perched predator, but an aerial one, already in flight, already hunting, some birds switch to a vocalization that researchers call a thin, high-frequency whisper. A sound so narrow in its acoustic profile that it is nearly impossible to localize. A bird can hear it and understand it, but cannot pinpoint where it came from. It is a warning designed to spread through the flock without giving away the location of the caller. The physics of predator avoidance, built into a single note. Your yard is a society. As birds share space over weeks and seasons, something accumulates between species that isn't quite friendship and isn't quite alliance, but functions like both. The chickadees in your yard know the cardinals. The cardinals know the wrens. The wrens know the nuthatches. Repeated exposure has built a mutual literacy, an ability to read each other's signals, to extend the alarm network across species lines, to coordinate responses to threats that no single species could monitor alone. Your yard is not a collection of individual birds happening to share the same feeder. It is a society, with communication systems, shared knowledge, and social memory that persist from one season to the next, the one call that means you. And now we arrive at the part this entire video has been building toward. Birds that spend enough time around a specific, predictable human begin to incorporate that human into their territory awareness. The alarm systems, so precisely calibrated to flag anything unusual or threatening, stop triggering at the same threshold for a known presence. Contact calls continue without interruption when you step outside. The flock's normal behavior persists around you rather than pausing because of you. You have moved from the category of unknown variable to something else. You have become part of the expected environment. And in the layered, continuous conversation running through your yard every morning, in the check-in calls, the safety confirmations, the casual movement sounds that birds only make in stable, trusted territory, you are no longer the thing being talked about. You have become part of the context in which the conversation happens. At some point, without realizing it, you stopped being an interruption. And somewhere in all that sound above your head, in the language you never knew was running, there may already be a signal that means the person who lives here. There may already be a call that means you. Have you ever noticed the yard going completely silent, or noticed birds continuing to call normally right beside you as though you weren't there? Drop it in the comments. I'd genuinely like to know what you heard.